Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku, and it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
What if buying a new appliance felt like a win for your home and your wallet? Save up to 50%, plus up to an extra $600 on select major appliances at the Best Buy Appliances Labor Day sale. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
The Stone Zone. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Joining me now is the filmmaker, musician, and investigative journalist, Joel Gilbert. Now, Joel, I tried to look up your bio on Wikipedia. I had trouble stopping laughing to start this show because it is so ridiculously absurd. It actually says, this article is an autobiography, has been extensively edited by the subject or someone connected to the subject. It may need editing to conform to Wikipedia's neutral point of view. This is laughable nonsense. Wikipedia, at least my biography, is full of distortions, lies, and absolute falsehoods. Appears to be the case in your case as well. Joel Gilbert has produced several films. He is also a noted musician and a great fan of Bob Dylan. His tribute band, Highway 61 Revisited, actually very, very good and made me interested in his multi-dimensional career. Probably his most famous film, Dreams of My Real Father, is a biographical film that those on the left have called a conspiracy theory. Well, they're wrong, but Joel Gilbert is right. Joel, welcome to the Stone Zone.
Great to be here, Roger. And yes, Wikipedia is a left-wing hit job. And no matter what you do, they will try to make you look bad. But I think the people know better by now what's really going on.
Yeah, it really is an absurdity. You can go to Wikipedia and correct the various things they say about you that are incorrect, and then you wait a few days, you go back, and they have been returned to the sea of falsehoods that is Wikipedia. I want to focus on Letitia James because I guess this kind of proves that what goes around comes around. Letitia James led a tsunami of lawfare along with her cohort, Alvin Bragg, the district attorney in New York County, which is Manhattan. So far, there are a number of convictions of Donald Trump in those proceedings, but this victory today is a very large one. A federal appeals court basically throwing out a several $100 million judgment against Donald Trump. And then you and Sam Antar over at whitecollarfraud.com have done an incredible job of exposing Letitia James' crime spree of 22 years of mortgage fraud. For those who aren't familiar with it, Sam Antar, who has a very interesting past himself. He was once convicted in one of the greatest security frauds in U.S. history, the whole Crazy Eddie saga. Crazy Eddie was an electronics firm. But Joel did his time, paid his debt. Sam did his time, paid his debt to society, came out and reinvented himself as a fraud investigator extraordinaire. And then Joel Gilbert, who is a very experienced documentary filmmaker and an investigative reporter, teamed up with Sam Antar in a series of blockbuster exposés on Letitia James. So, Joel, before we get into the Ayatollah Zoran Mamdani and the way he has illegally weaponized nonprofit organizations to cheat in the recent New York mayoral primary, you've written a great piece about this. I want to focus for a little bit here on Letitia James. When you examined her record when it came to mortgage fraud, what did you find?
Well, New York is a public record state, so I just went online. Anybody could have done it at any time. And I found that she had a 43-year history of fraudulent mortgages. She did not do one mortgage purchase or refinance in New York that did not involve fraud. It began when she was only 24 years old. She pretended that she was married to her father in the document in 3 places. She signed it so that her father, they bought a property as husband and wife, no doubt, so that Letitia could get better mortgage terms from the bank. She probably wouldn't even qualify. So she pretended to marry her father. Lo and behold, as you go through time, the biggest fraud is her purchase of a 4-story, 5-unit apartment building in Lafayette Avenue in Brooklyn. And there it showed a series of mortgages and refinances where she consistently claimed that the building only had 4 apartment units, even though the official certificate of occupancy said it had 5. And the biggest fraud that I focused on in my first article back in March was she had a adjustable rate mortgage that was 10% in 2011 with a private bank, and she decided to refinance it on the back of the American taxpayer through the HAMP program out of Washington. And to get that loan, which was only eligible if your building was 4 units or less, she lied and said she had only 4 units when it really had 5. She also lied and said she had a financial hardship, which you were required to have, even though she was making about $14,000 a month. So I chronicled this in the Gateway Pundit, and I wasn't surprised a couple months later to see Bill Pulte from the Federal Housing Finance Agency, I believe, used a lot of my material to refer her to the Department of Justice for an investigation. Since then, Ed Martin has been appointed a special prosecutor. As you noted with today's news, the pendulum has completely swung against this fraud that was Letitia James, who ran for office on the disgusting proclamation that she would target an American citizen if elected and find a crime to charge him with, something that even in the Soviet bloc and third world countries, they don't even say that out loud when they want to do that. So the pendulum has swung, and Trump has been completely exonerated in his appeal. And Ed Martin is, if you look at his Twitter every day, the special prosecutor, it looks like Letitia's going to be charged. He's already asked her attorney, Abby Lowell, to have Letitia resign. That's how bad it is. So it's been an amazing few months to watch the pendulum swing against the fraudulent Letitia James.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I saw this great picture. First of all, I saw you and Sam Antar. You guys are like the Batman and Robin of fighting mortgage fraud crime. I saw you visited the facility where she had 5 units, but claimed she had 4 in order to qualify for a particular type of mortgage, an advantageous type of mortgage. And then I saw very recently that Ed Martin, the Deputy Assistant Attorney General, now Special Counsel investigating mortgage fraud, showed up to inspect the same building, but he was wearing a trench coat. I'm not sure if he's more Inspector Clouseau or whether it's Columbo, but I have to admit I kind of liked the look. And I feel a lot better that this is now being looked at from the point of view of the law enforcement, taking a hard look at crimes by people who previously thought somehow they were above the law. I made reference earlier to the Standard Chartered banking case. This is an extraordinary case in which the bank already got caught violating the Iranian sanctions, paid a fine for it, and then went right back to the same code of conduct and did over $100 million in prohibited transactions and transfers to sanctioned institutions, including those in China as well as Iran. And there is hard evidence that Letitia James and the Biden Justice Department were fully aware of these violations, but did nothing whatsoever about it. So this money's been traced. It ended up in the hands of Hezbollah. It also financed illegal purchases by China of Iranian oil, yet another violation of sanctions. Letitia James, I think, has some serious explaining to do. According to Bloomberg, Kash Patel's FBI is now investigating Standard Chartered Bank and these series of crimes, which I think I would say even more serious than this mortgage fraud crime spree. It is amazing the way the pendulum has turned. I ultimately believe that the other judgment against Donald Trump in Manhattan, the so-called hush money case, where Donald Trump entered into a confidential settlement in a harassment lawsuit. But Alvin Bragg decided to charge Trump without ever identifying a crime. Of course, you had the Soviet-style show trial there in Manhattan, finding the president guilty on 39 counts. I'm confident that that, too, will ultimately be overturned, and the president will be entirely vindicated. Let's shift, if we may, now to a great piece that you have in the Gateway Pundit, in which you question the outcome of the recent Democrat primary in New York City, which was won in an upset by Zohran Mamdani. Your piece, also relying on the excellent work done by Sam Antar at whitecollarfraud.com, says, what if the grassroots of political movements reshaping America's cities aren't really grassroots at all, but rather illegal, tax-exempt, charity-funded operations disguised as community activism? As you point out, Sam Antar, in his July 2025 article, How Elite Money Flows Through the Working Families Party Network, forensic investigator Sam Antar, who was with us yesterday, exposes a hidden financial web that he calls grassroots laundering. It's a case study you wrote in the rise of Zohran Mamdani in New York City politics. You go on to say, what Antar uncovered is a political machine powered not by working-class donations, but by a $2 billion network of tax-exempt nonprofits that illegally converts taxpayer money and billionaire philanthropy into political power. Tell us what happened here, Joel.
Okay, Sam Antar basically exposed something that's been going on for many years. He says that the entire leftist campaign infrastructure is actually illegal under the tax code. And he goes through all these ways that it's done. And here's how he explains it. He talks about how, first, you have tax-deductible funding, and that's when billionaires and the U.S. government gives hundreds of millions of dollars to these charities, these 501c3 charities that are not allowed to engage in political activities. These charities then transfer their money to their affiliates that are 501c4s, and they are allowed to engage in political indoctrination. They often have very similar names, like Make the Road New York gave all this money to Make the Road Action, which was a political entity. So then the 501c4s funnel the money they got from the charities into these PACs and super PACs, and they fund political campaigns like Zohran Mamdani's. Then someone like Mamdani gets elected, and he expands the government funding to the very charities that helped elect him in the first place. Now, you may have seen that Lee Zeldin, the EPA administrator, just came out with a big expose yesterday that the entire Inflation Reduction Act was just a way to fund all these climate and other Democrat NGOs and charities to then launder it back into the political system. So Sam Antar pretty much exposed the whole thing with a massive study that really could be the groundwork for a tax IRS case against Mamdani and all these NGOs, because the entire operation is tax fraud.
It is a stunning article. You can go to whitecollarfraud.com, whitecollarfraud.com, or go to the Gateway Pundit, look up Joel Gilbert, excellent coverage of what is an extraordinary scheme which blurs the line between charity and politics. I think it undermines the very foundation of our campaign finance law, and it's very clever, but it really cuts against the entire fake narrative that Mamdani's campaign is some kind of people-powered revolution, that this is a grassroots revolt against dark money and special interests, when, based on what I'm reading here in your article, Joel, the exact opposite is true.
Right. All they did is they moved government funding for charities to political arms without anybody noticing, and then used it to fund these far-left politicians. And then Mamdani runs around saying, this is a people's movement. This is a grassroots revolution. Join us. But in fact, most of the money comes from this scheme of laundering charity money, especially through the U.S. taxpayer. You and I have been paying for Mamdani's campaign because the government funds these NGOs. So I think Sam Antar just did a great job. I've never seen it laid out so expertly. And with the revelations from Lee Zeldin, I think the Trump administration and the IRS are going to have to take a look at this whole leftist campaign infrastructure. It goes back to Act Blue. It's just been going on for years and years, and I think this is the first time that anybody really laid it out and put it all together so succinctly. So definitely go to whitecollarfraud.com. You've got to read this piece by Sam Antar.
Yeah, the president has called for an investigation of Act Blue, which is the Democrat payment processing website. And I have already seen some of the initial research, which indicates that of those Letitia James donors who have been able to be contacted, almost 70% of them deny ever having made a contribution to her, deny having made multiple contributions. I think there is yet another case here. She's one of the number one recipients in the country of small multi-dollar donations through Act Blue. This is, I think, going to be yet another legal case she's going to have to fight through. She's not the only one, though. There's a number of major Democrats. Remember, you heard it here, folks. Here first, folks. Act Blue is the next big Democrat scandal. But we appreciate you joining us today, The Stone Zone. We're talking to documentary filmmaker and investigative journalist Joel Gilbert. Whatever you do, don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. We have a new tracking poll in the New York City mayor's race that I want to go through with you. Don't touch that dial. We have more hot politics for you right on the other side.
Thanks for listening to The Stone Zone with Roger Stone. You can hear The Stone Zone with Roger Stone weeknights at 8 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?